Semen retention is more than a physical discipline. It is an act of mental refinement. In a world overwhelmed by distraction, overstimulation, and noise, the ability to hold one's seed is the ability to preserve one's mind. The essence that generates life is also the essence that fuels thought. When a man learns to contain it, his intellect sharpens, his focus intensifies, and his perception clears like a still lake after a storm. Retention is not suppression, it is sublimation, the transmutation of instinct into insight. Before we go deeper into semen retention mastery, subscribe to this channel and join our Telegram community. Link below. You'll get guidance, insights, and exclusive updates designed to accelerate your growth. Stay connected. Your discipline, focus, and transformation begin right here. The modern mind is dull, not because it lacks information, but because it leaks attention. Every impulsive release, every fleeting indulgence drains the very fuel that powers clarity. A man who practices semen retention begins to experience his thoughts as organized and purposeful instead of chaotic and reactive. His brain chemistry starts to stabilize, and dopamine no longer jerks his focus from one triviality to another. He becomes capable of sustained concentration, a skill that defines all great thinkers. Throughout history, sages, scientists, and philosophers have hinted at this secret. Nikola Tesla, Leonardo da Vinci, and Pythagoras spoke of conserving creative energy as a means of intellectual mastery. What they understood is that semen retention turns the sexual current inward, nourishing the nervous system and awakening dormant regions of the brain. The thinker who retains becomes a vessel of clarity. His ideas flow not from strain, but from alignment. The clarity born from retention is not merely cognitive, it is spiritual awareness, expressed through intellect. The fog that once clouded decision-making lifts, revealing patterns, connections, and meanings previously unseen. When you stop scattering your essence, your mind stops scattering too. Your attention condenses into laser precision. You begin to perceive life not as fragments, but as a cohesive whole. Every drop of retained energy becomes mental voltage. The mind that once wandered into fantasy now becomes an engine of innovation. You start to notice details others overlook, sense energies others miss, and make connections others can't. It's as though a hidden intelligence inside awakens once you stop depleting your vital essence. Retention turns you from a thinker lost in thoughts to a mind rooted in consciousness. The first few weeks may challenge your discipline. Lustful urges rise, testing your intent. But as you channel that urge into focus through study, creation, and meditation, you start to feel a surge of inner stability. Your thoughts lose their anxiety-driven speed. Instead, they flow in coherent sequences. You no longer react, you observe, calculate, and respond. That's the birth of true mental clarity. Your brain thrives on neurochemical balance. Semen retention helps restore that balance naturally. Dopamine spikes caused by constant sexual indulgence lead to mental fatigue, restlessness, and brain fog. When you retain dopamine resets, the reward system regains sensitivity, meaning you start finding joy in subtle, intellectual, and creative pursuits again. Reading, thinking, and problem-solving feel exciting instead of boring. A retained mind perceives deeper layers of truth. You begin to notice the motives behind words, the energy behind events, the hidden design behind chaos. This is not mystical exaggeration. It's simply heightened awareness. When your energy isn't spent fueling lust, it fuels insight. You move from sensual stimulation to intuitive illumination. With semen retention, your memory improves dramatically. The mental fatigue that once blurred recall fades away. You remember details effortlessly because your nervous energy is no longer drained. The mind becomes like a sharpened blade, capable of slicing through complexity. This makes your work, conversations, and ideas more impactful and precise. The discipline required for retention spills into every other mental habit. You stop indulging impulsive thoughts, emotional outbursts, and self-doubt. The same control that holds your seed also holds your attention. The mind becomes obedient to your will rather than your desires. This self-command is the foundation of intellectual freedom. Retention teaches patience, and patience refines thinking. When you are not chasing instant pleasure, your thoughts become long-term. You start planning, analyzing, and strategizing with a visionary mindset. Ideas that once seemed too complex begin to unfold with ease because your mental circuits are no longer overloaded. In this heightened state, you start perceiving time differently. The mind slows down without becoming lazy. Each moment expands, allowing deeper thought and richer observation. Creativity blossoms not from pressure, but from peace. Semen retention gives the mind space to breathe, and from that stillness, genius arises. Even emotional intelligence improves. Because your body isn't hijacked by constant sexual drive, you become more empathetic, aware, and centered in interactions. You hear beyond words. You understand before explanation. This makes you magnetic in social and intellectual circles because your calmness contrasts the chaos of overstimulated minds. The discipline of semen retention purifies thought patterns. It burns away mental clutter, born from lust, guilt, and escapism. What remains is purity of intention. Every thought you entertain begins to have purpose. You no longer waste mental energy fantasizing. You invest it in creation, understanding, and mastery. Over time, this mental clarity begins to express itself through your face and body. Your eyes grow sharper, your expressions calmer, your speech more deliberate. People start to sense your thoughtfulness. You no longer speak to be heard, you speak because you have something to say. That difference commands respect and attention. Semen retention is like polishing a lens. The more you hold your essence, the clearer reality becomes. What once felt complicated reveals itself as simple patterns of cause and effect. This clarity enables profound decision-making. You stop second-guessing yourself because you operate from intuition aligned with intellect. The retained mind becomes highly intuitive. Logic and intuition no longer conflict, they cooperate. You see things holistically. Where others see obstacles, you see systems. Where others see chaos, you see rhythm. This level of perception makes you an exceptional strategist, creator, or philosopher. Your thoughts also become more original. When your mind is not flooded by lustful imagery, you develop independent perception. You stop copying others' ideas and start birthing your own. Retention awakens creativity, not through fantasy, but through spiritual depth. Each thought begins to feel like revelation. Because your mind becomes quieter, you hear the voice of wisdom within. The noise of compulsive thinking fades, and silence becomes your teacher. That silence is where true intelligence lives. Every great thinker learned to sit in that silence. And semen retention accelerates that process by harmonizing your energy and mind. As you practice longer, you notice your mind's endurance increase. Tasks that once exhausted you now feel effortless. Reading for hours, writing deeply, or solving complex problems becomes enjoyable. The brain becomes like a well-oiled engine, running smoothly without friction. That smoothness is the essence of mental mastery. With clarity comes foresight. You begin to anticipate patterns in life, in people, in outcomes. Your mind becomes predictive, not reactive. This gives you advantage in business, relationships, and personal growth. Retention enhances not just intelligence, but wisdom, the ability to use knowledge with timing and discernment. Your willpower also multiplies. The constant inner battle between desire and discipline trains the prefrontal cortex, the seat of decision-making. As your control strengthens, procrastination dies. You act immediately on clear thoughts because mental hesitation dissolves. You become decisive, and decisiveness creates success. There's also a spiritual intelligence that grows quietly. You begin to understand yourself as consciousness, not just a mind. You witness thoughts without being controlled by them. This detachment allows perfect mental clarity because you're no longer entangled in every emotion or idea. Retention grants the distance needed for wisdom. You'll notice how emotional turbulence fades away. The mind no longer amplifies fear or anxiety. Retention stabilizes the nervous system, lowering cortisol and raising serotonin naturally. Calmness becomes your default state. In that calmness, your mind functions like a crystal clear, precise, and transparent. The more you retain, the more sensitive you become to subtle thought vibrations. You can sense when ideas are aligned with truth and when they are not. This discernment is invaluable for thinkers, creators, and leaders. You stop chasing every trend or ideology because your intuition filters what's real from what's noise. Your mental clarity eventually transcends intellect. You start operating from awareness rather than analysis. Decisions arise spontaneously yet intelligently. This is the state of flow, where the mind becomes a clear channel for higher intelligence. Retention is the doorway to that flow state because it harmonizes sexual and mental energy. Even your creativity takes new forms. You'll start solving problems from unexpected angles. The mind becomes flexible, yet focused, structured, yet spontaneous. This is the paradox of true clarity. It makes you disciplined but not rigid, open but not scattered. You become both scientist and artist in one consciousness. The energy that once left your body now fuels ideas. You might find yourself writing effortlessly, designing visionary plans, or grasping abstract concepts with ease. This is not magic. It's the redirection of life force toward intellect. Retention transforms biological energy into cognitive brilliance. Semen retention also refines speech. Words begin to carry power because they come from depth. The pauses between your words become meaningful. When you speak, people listen not because you shout, but because your energy vibrates through your language. Mental clarity gives your communication gravity. Your self-image evolves naturally. You begin to see yourself as a channel of intelligence, not a victim of impulses. This self-respect increases confidence without arrogance. You stop comparing yourself to others because you're too focused on expanding your potential. Retention aligns your self-concept with mastery, not mediocrity. The mind under retention also becomes creative in problem-solving. You start seeing multiple solutions instead of one. Lateral thinking replaces tunnel vision. This adaptability makes you resilient in uncertainty, a hallmark of true intellect. You stop reacting emotionally and start responding logically with inner calm. Even mundane experiences become insightful. A simple walk becomes a meditation on patterns, symmetry, and design. Retention heightens perception to the point where everyday moments reveal universal lessons. You begin to think like a philosopher, feel like an artist, and act like a scientist, all at once. Clarity also strengthens purpose. The retained mind doesn't drift aimlessly. It focuses on a mission. You begin aligning thought and action with long-term vision. Distractions lose their pull because your mental energy is unified behind one direction. Purpose-driven thought is the peak of retention's gift. Over months, this clarity becomes unshakable. External stress, emotional manipulation, or even lustful imagery fail to distort your thinking. You have mastered the mind by mastering its root, the sexual energy. When energy obeys consciousness, the mind becomes an instrument of precision. You may start to notice synchronicities, moments when thoughts manifest quickly, when answers appear effortlessly. This happens because your mind is aligned with universal order. The same creative force you conserve begins working through your intellect, guiding you toward expansion. Retention synchronizes you with the flow of life itself. Other people sense this energy. They might not understand it intellectually, but they feel it emotionally. They trust your judgment, seek your perspective, and admire your calmness. The thinker who retains becomes not just intelligent but wise, a source of stability in a frantic world. Even your dreams evolve. Nightly visions become clearer, symbolic, and instructive. Because energy is not being wasted, the subconscious mind communicates more directly. You begin to decode your inner landscape, using dreams as teachers. Retention bridges conscious and unconscious intelligence. Eventually, semen retention transforms thought into insight and insight into realization. You stop chasing knowledge as accumulation and start embodying wisdom as awareness. The mind becomes servant, not master. Thoughts obey consciousness rather than control it. This is the ultimate mental clarity, the thinker dissolving into pure knowing. As you continue this discipline, you realize that mental clarity is not something you achieved. It's something you uncover by stopping energy leaks. Retention strips away illusion, revealing the natural brilliance of your awareness. The mind doesn't need stimulation, it needs stillness. And retention is the path to that stillness. You become a philosopher not by reading but by being. You begin to understand the essence of existence through direct perception, not through borrowed ideas. Semen retention transforms knowledge into wisdom, thought into truth, intellect into insight. The mind becomes mirror reflecting reality without distortion. Ultimately, semen retention for thinkers is the science of alignment. It aligns biology with spirituality, emotion with intellect, and thought with truth. The same energy that creates life also creates genius when harnessed. To retain is to remember your divine potential. In this mastery, the mind becomes a cathedral of clarity. Every thought becomes sacred, every silence meaningful, every insight a spark of divine intelligence. You no longer think to understand, you understand because you are. That is the mental purity born of retention. And in that state, semen retention is no longer a practice, it is your nature. The thinker becomes the seer. The seer becomes the truth. Mental clarity is not what you gain. It's what remains when nothing leaks away. Do not let this powerful momentum fade. 2 things before you go. First, hit the like button to show the algorithm we are a force. And subscribe immediately so you don't lose the frequency shift we just created. Second, you are part of a global tribe, so claim your spot in the comments by dropping your location. Need accountability, deep questions answered, or direct support? That's what our Telegram is, for join the inner circle. The link is below. Forward this video to one soul who needs to step into their power today. Have a force multiplying day.